Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Shodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodhanandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Ramvishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Stotra Sadashri Srimad Shilabhaya Charana Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 15, chapter entitled Parasuram, the Lord's Warrior Incarnation, text number 32 to few slokas. We'll see there is no purport. I'll just read all these slokas. Drishtva susainyam rudiraghu kardame ranachire ramakutara sayakai vivrgnavarma dvajachapya vigraham nipatitam hayhayapatat rucha. Translation. By manipulating his axe and arrows, Lord Parashuram cut to pieces the shields, flags, bows and bodies of Kartyavir Arjuna's soldiers, who fell on the battlefield, muddying the ground with their blood. Seeing these reverses, Kartyavir Arjuna, infuriated, rushed to the battlefield. 33. Atharjuna panchasateshu bahubir danushabhanan yugapatsa sandade ramaya ramostra vratam samagranais tan eka danveshubhir achinat samam. Translation. Then Kartyavir Arjuna, with his 1,000 arms, simultaneously fixed arrows on 500 bows to kill Lord Parashuram. But Lord Parashuram, the best of the fighters, released enough arrows with only one bow to cut to pieces immediately all the arrows and bows in the hands of Kartyavir Arjuna. Text 34. Punah swahastair achalan mride gripan utkshipya vegat abhidhavato yudhi ujhan kutarena kathoranemina chichedarama prashabham tva aheriva. Translation. When his arrows were cut to pieces, Kartyavir Arjuna uprooted many trees and hills with his own hands and again rushed strongly towards Lord Parashurama to kill him. But Parashurama then used his axe with great force to cut off Kartyavir Arjuna's arms, just as one might lop off the hoods of a serpent. 35 and 36. Krutabaho shirastasya gire shringam ivaharat hate pitari tat putra ayutam dudror bhayat agnihotrim upavartya savatsam paraviraha samupetya shramam pitre pariklishtam samarpayat. Translation. Thereafter, Parashuram cut off like a mountain peak the head of Kartyavir Arjuna, who had already lost his arms. When Kartyavir Arjuna's 10,000 sons saw their father killed, they all fled in fear. Then Parashurama, having killed the enemy, released the Kamadhenu, which had undergone great suffering, and brought it back with its calf to his residence, where he gave it to his father Jamadagni. 37. Swakarma tat krutam rama pitre bhratrabhya evacha varnayam ashatat shrutva jamadagnir abhasata. Translation. Parashurama described to his father and brothers his activities in killing Kartyavir Arjuna. Upon hearing of these deeds, Jamadagni spoke to his son as follows. 38. Rama Rama Mahabhaho Bhavan Papam Akarshit Avadhin Naradevam Yat Sarvadeva Mayam Vrta. Translation. O great hero, my dear son Parashurama, you have unnecessarily killed the king who is supposed to be the embodiment of all the demigods. Thus you have committed a sin. Text 39. Vayam hi brahmanas tata kshamayar hanatam gataha yaya loka guru devam parameshtyam aghatpadam. Translation. My dear son, we are all brahmanas and have become worshipable for the people in general because of our quality of forgiveness. It is because of this quality that Lord Brahma, the supreme spiritual master of this universe, has achieved his post. So, we'll please repeat. Kshamaya rochate lakshmihi brahmi shauri yatha shaminam prabha shaminam ashu bhagavan tushyate harihi ishvaraha. Kshamaya rochate lakshmi Kshamaya rochate lakshmi Brahmi shauri yatha prabha Brahmi shauri yatha prabha Kshaminamashu bhagavans Kshaminamashu bhagavans Tusyate haririshvaraha. Tushyate Haririshvaraha. Shamaya rochate Lakshmi. Brahmi Sauri Yatha Prabha. Kshaminamashu Bhagavan. Tushyate Haririshvaraha. Mataji's? Kshamaya, simply by forgiving. Rochate, becomes pleasing. Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. Brahmi, in connection with Brahminical qualifications. Sauri, the sun god. Yatha, as. Prabha, the sunshine. Kshaminam, unto the Brahmanas, who are so forgiving. Ashu, very soon. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tushyate, becomes pleased. Harihi, the Lord. Ishvaraha, the Supreme Controller. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Founder Acharya ISKCON and BBT. Translation: the duty of a Brahmana is to culture the quality of forgiveness, which is illuminating like the sun. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is pleased with those who are forgiving. Purport: different personalities become beautiful by possessing different qualities. Chanakya Pandit says that the cuckoo bird, although very black, is beautiful because of its sweet voice. Similarly, woman becomes beautiful by her chastity and faithfulness to her husband, and an ugly person becomes beautiful when he becomes a learned scholar. In the same way, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras become beautiful by their qualities. Brahmanas are beautiful when they are forgiving, Kshatriyas when they are heroic and never retreat from fighting, Vaishyas when they enrich cultural activities and protect cows, and Shudras when they are faithful in the discharge of duties pleasing to their masters. Thus everyone becomes beautiful by his special qualities, and the special qualities of the Brahmana are described here is forgiveness. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langaite Krimet Kripadam Maham Mande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminiti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devin Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Kshamaya rochate Lakshmir Bhrami Sauri Yatha Prabha Kshaminama Shubhakavam Stusyate Haririshvara. The duty of a Brahmana is to culture the quality of forgiveness, which is illuminating like the sun. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is pleased with those who are forgiving. So we just saw a few verses which gives a very vivid description about the fight of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Lord is all-powerful, so He can do wonders, no doubt. He is there everywhere, He is spread everywhere, everything is His energy. He can transform matter into spirit, spirit into matter. We know Lord expands, three Purusha avatars, Karanadakashaya Vishnu, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, Shirodakashaya Vishnu. He's entering into all the atoms. He's there inside all the atoms. He's within, He's residing with us, with all the souls. So Lord is there everywhere. It's not difficult for Him to manifest in whatever way He wants, with one bow, with 100 bows, without bow. He can do whatever He wants. When Prahlad when Hiranyakashipu asked, "Where is your Lord?" So he said, "He is everywhere. Show me place where He is not there." So Hiranyakashipu wanted to point to some object and he wanted to ask whether Lord is here. So Acharyas explained that. So Lord was, because he pointed to the pillar, so we don't know Prahlad which pillar he will point. So Lord entered into all pillars. He's already there, but in His personal form, He was waiting inside all pillars. So one Acharya said that, so all pillars became pregnant. So when Hiranyakashipu asked, "Is He here?" Yes. And Prahlad said immediately, Lord had to come. He is there everywhere, but in His personal form, He had to come. It's not difficult. We are trying to prove, Prabhupada said, we have to prove life comes from life, not from chemicals. But I think only example where we can show that life comes from chemicals is Nrsingadev. He jumped from the pillar, so which is matter. But he came to prove life comes from life. He came to show these atheistic demons, scientists, that I am there. So God is there. Life comes from life, not from chemicals. So Bhagavan, He can do whatever He wants. He can make huge planets weighing, so much weight, He can make them to float. People question how these stones are floating, how Ram made these stones to float, but He is making huge planets to float, what to speak of stones. So He is the lawmaker and He can break the law. He's a lawmaker, lawbreaker, and when He breaks the laws, that is the law. Dharmantu Shakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. Whatever He does is law. And Bhagavan, He doesn't do any mistakes. So by definition, God cannot do mistakes and He will not do mistakes. And whatever He does is law, is dharma, is transcendental. So therefore, for people, it becomes very difficult sometimes to understand the activities of the Lord. Therefore, Krishna says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. So just by understanding my birth and activities, one can get liberation. Just by understanding. Lord, the unborn is born. If you understand that unborn is born, our birth is not there. So it's not just, that's the problem, because of our conditioning nature, we don't appreciate the transcendental nature of the Lord. So we think Lord is also part of material nature. So therefore we need acharyas who explain who gives us all the details, how Lord is transcendent, how his birth and activities are transcendental, Chame Divyam, transcendental. So yesterday's verse, it was shown how Lord was trying to fight with the speed of mind, then he increased his speed. So like that, we also see the example of Gajendra Moksha. So when Gajendra called, Lord usually comes, Garuda carries him. So but Lord came so fast, wanted to go so fast to save his devotee that Acharyas explained that he had put Garuda on his back and he came so fast. So he can do whatever he wants, that's the point. So the Achintya quality, the inconceivable potency of the Lord, if we accept that, then everything becomes very easy. And there is no doubt how Lord did this, how Lord did that. And again, Lord did this and therefore he incurred sin. Krishna did this, Ram did this, Ram killed Ravana who was a Brahmana. Balaram killed Romaharshana Suta. So people sometimes are, due to their conditioning nature, they think Lord performed sin and therefore he is suffering in this avatar like this. Always some comparison they have. So, but this is so foolishness. People, the process of atonement, when we commit sin, the process of atonement given to us is chanting Lord's name. So by chanting Lord's name, we get purified. All our sins are getting destroyed. So if Lord himself is bounded by reactions, then where is the question of he liberating us? So there cannot be that possibility. So Lord cannot incur any sin. Whatever he does is dharma. Whatever he does is law. Whatever he does is above material modes. So there is no question of they incurring sin. But sometimes they act as if they work for atonement to teach us that we should be careful about certain activities. So that is the other part of the lesson. And here the importance of the quality of kshama is given, forgiveness. So Vaishnavas, they don't feel offended when somebody offends their own self. Vaishnavas, they never feel offended for when somebody offends their self. But when they offend other devotees or when they offend Lord, then they become offended. So otherwise, for their own self, they are not offended. They are very humble. Trinatapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnana amanina mandena kirtaniya sadahari. Whatever anybody blaspheming any Vaishnava, that particular Vaishnava will never offend, will always tolerate. But when he offends Lord or other devotees, then he gets offended. So in any case, when we offend a Vaishnava, Lord becomes offended. So it's always dangerous. So, but the Brahmana, the nature of the Brahmanas or Vaishnavas is to forgive, because Lord is telling the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari is pleased with those who are forgiving. So if we want to please Lord, then if we want to become Vaishnava or a Brahmana, then we should develop this quality of forgiveness. We can see karmis, they quarrel each other. Sometimes quarrel goes on for generations. 200 years before, you did this to my father, my ancestors. Your ancestors committed this sin to my ancestors. Therefore, you are a demon, you are a rascal. Therefore, you have to be punished. So, for generations, the enmity is passed. Evam parampara praptam. So, the enmity is passed generation after generation. So, this is not quality of Vaishnava. Vaishnava forgives. So if we want to become Vaishnava, then we should develop this quality of forgiveness, kshama. So there's a general saying, hate the sin, not the sinner. So we can see this from the qualities of great Vaishnavas. Jesus Christ, Prabhupada all the time, many times he quotes the example of Jesus Christ, how he was tolerant and how he was forgiving. He was preaching to people and the very people wanted to crucify him. They killed him, they betrayed him. But Jesus was so tolerant and so with this nature of kshama, forgiveness, that he was praying to Lord, oh Lord, they don't know what they are doing, so please forgive them. So this is the quality of great representative of Lord, great Vaishnava. So, and we can see from the example of Haridas Thakur. So he was beaten, he was blasphemed, he was criticized. They wanted to kill him, but Haridas Thakur was praying for the very people who wanted to kill him. So this is the nature. And ultimately, they could not kill him. And when he saw that these soldiers were very sorrow that they could not fulfill their order, then he voluntarily entered into samadhi, but which appeared for them as if he is dead and gone. So then they became happy. So you can see Vaishnava, they are forgiving and they want to, they tolerate all the insults which is committed to their very self. And then this is what we learn from the most munificent incarnation, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Namo Mahavadanyaya, Krishna Prema Pradayate, Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni, Gauratuse Namo Namaha. So he came, and we can see from the pastime of Jagai and Madai, we see the painting here. So Jagai and Madai were so sinful. It is explained, Chitragupta, who is maintaining the records, his hard disk crashed, 1 TB, 1000 GB, crashed. It's so sinful. These people, it is explained, they read scriptures, Jagai Madai, they read Shastras, then they will find out what sin we have left out, what else to commit to achieve perfection, Purna. So, and then next day they will go and perform that. And this is the characteristics of Jagai and Madai. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu simply, deleted everything. Control, Alt, delete, Control A, delete, or whatever, completely. There is no question of tally or, one by one. Everything he deleted. And when Yamaraj saw this, he fainted in his chariot, that these people could be liberated. So this is our hope, that this is the time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is spreading. We have got the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. So this is the hope that no matter what is our background, no matter how much sin we are, if we are sincere, Lord accepts and forgives. And this is the nature of the Lord. So we can see from the qualities of Jagai and Madai, when they were forgiven, it's not that the very next day they joined their devotee party and, Haribol Prabhu, how are you? So, and then they started, as if everything was okay. So we can see from their activities and prayers what level of austerities they took, what was their consciousness, what was their humble consciousness. If you see their prayers, they were telling that, oh Lord, you saved Ajamilla. He chanted Narayana's name. We didn't chant any name. They were Shastrik. Vishnu Dutas came to protect them. So he deserved to be saved. But what was our qualification? Our qualification was, we wounded Nityananda Prabhu, your most dear devotee. We wounded him. So we didn't have any qualification. We never chanted your name. So Gajendra, he was animal, but still he was saved because he called you. We didn't call you. Putana, Agasura, Bakasura, all these demons, they give, Jagai Madai give the list of all demons. So Shastra says they got liberated, but who knows, who has seen that they got liberated? World, universe didn't see them. But now you have liberated us, that the whole universe is seeing. And this really glorifies your munificent nature. Liberating others, they were qualified one way or the other. So liberating others was not your great quality. But by liberating us, now you are fulfilling the purpose of avatar. What is that? To deliver the most fallen, to give the highest form of devotion to the most fallen people. So now Anantashesh can glorify your names. Now Anantashesh has opportunity to glorify you more. So in that way you can see that they were trying to, practice a very humble devotion. So they perform, it is explained in Chaitanya Bhagavat, you can see so much austerities they undertook. So with so much faith they chanted the holy name of the Lord, and they never committed sin again. This is the most important part of their pastimes. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, when he saved them, when he removed all their sins, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body turned into black. He demonstrated to all his associates that I have removed all their sins. And he warned other devotees that if anybody will speak about their past activities, then that will be great sin in their part. Nobody should speak that Jagai Madai was this, that. So sometimes we should also see when devotees, they try to rectify their mistakes. It doesn't happen within a day, or it takes time. But when they are trying to come out, when we all the time again and again say that 100 years before you did this, 50 years before you did this, therefore you are still the same, you cannot be, so then this is not good quality. This will not inspire the devotees who are sincerely trying to come. They can tolerate, but the very fact that they are still here is because they are conditioned soul. And as a duty of their senior, it's our duty that we encourage them. If you see that they are at least from committing 100% sin, if they have reduced 1%, so a devotee will see that, okay, at least he is trying, he is attempting his best. So we should encourage them. So rather, if we all the time complain, they did this, they did that, that is not part of Vaishnava quality. We can see Brahmanas, they should forgive. So if we want to please Lord, if we ourselves wants to go to spiritual world, we are calling senior devotee this, that, but if we want to go to Krishna, then we have to please him, then we should have this quality of forgiveness. And what is our hope? We have committed so much sin. Bags and bags of sinful reactions are awaiting. So our only hope is Lord will forgive everything. All delete. Unless, Vaishnavas, unless Lord forgives all our sin, what is our hope? So in the same way, we should also develop this quality if we want to become a Vaishnava. So and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not only removed all their sins, he said they are the part of his internal associates. So not only he removed the sin, he said they are the part of my internal associates. So this is the mercy of Mahaprabhu. Immediately he can elevate. This is the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, that the most fallen people were uplifted to the highest level of devotion. So this is their prayers, this is their consciousness, this is the mood of Jagai and Madai. So we should try to inculcate this humble consciousness. Then devotees will forgive. If we are all the time proud and if we are all the time not sincere, then again forgiveness will not helpful also. They may forgive, but we are not ready to change. So therefore, we should also develop, try to understand the consciousness of these devotees and try to follow them. You can see again from the prayers of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, here Jagai Madai compared themselves with Ajamila, with Putana, with Gajendra, and later in the prayers of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they compare themselves to Jagai and Madai, and they say that they are worse than Jagai and Madai. So they say that Jagai Madai, at least they were Damvasis, they were living in holy place. They were Brahmanas, they never gave up the position of Brahmana. Whatever it was, devotees' mood you can see. So by liberating us only, you are Namo Mahavasanya. Again, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana is repeating same thing. So all the time there is comparing mentality, but comparing to show that one is more fallen than the other. So this is the mood of devotees. So they said that we gave up our positions of Brahmanas. Just, we were working like a dog to our Muslim masters. Dogs means it will unnecessarily bark at other masters without any offense. So this was our attitude. We gave up our position. We were not Brahmanas, but rather Jagai and Madai never gave up their position. So in that way they were glorifying Jagai and Madai. And so this should be the consciousness of a devotee. And also from Ramayana we can see the famous shloka from Rama in the Charam Shloka. Maharaj also, when 2 years ago, he gave a lecture on the qualities of Vibhishan. So he was very much giving explanation about this Leela where Vibhishana came and surrendered to Ram. So he said, this is our hope, that whatever is our background, once we surrender to Ram, then everything is forgiven. Ram was ready, that he said that even if Ravana comes today and he surrenders, I'll forgive him. So this is our hope. We have great hope that, but yes, we should not repeat this sin again. This is very difficult. So what is that shloka? Anybody knows? The Prapanna, the famous shloka from Ramayana. It's called Charama Shloka. Maharaj said Sri Vaishnavas, they give very much importance to this shloka of Ramayana. And the Charama Shloka of Bhagavad Gita, we know, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vrajaham tvam sarva papebhyo moksheshyami ma suja. So Krishna says, I'll deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So this is our hope, that Lord forgives us from all our sinful reactions, and we can at last be placed in His lotus feet by His costless mercy. Sure. Yes, so this is that famous shloka from Ramayana. So this is our hope, that we will be forgiven, and in that way we can be purified of our consciousness. So, but we should not misuse it, that we should also understand. Therefore we pray every day, Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu upevacha patitana bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So the Vaishnavas, they are very merciful. So that is their quality, to forgive. So, but we should not misuse that quality. As I said, once we are forgiven, then we should not repeat the sin again. So if that is the case, then nobody can help us. So we should be very careful. We should not misuse this quality of Brahmanas also. So if we behave in that way, then as the shloka goes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is pleased with those who are forgiving. So these qualities is what ultimately qualifies us. So Chanakya's shloka is also mentioned here. The women are beautiful not with their body, but with their qualities of chastity and faithfulness. So nowadays we can see the attraction is mostly with the externals, with the body. Why? Because these qualities are very difficult to inculcate. So therefore, the easiest way of attracting is to have a very beautiful body and attract the opposite sex. So this is, what's not the nature of women in those days. The attraction is based on quality, and it's not to attract them, but it's ultimately what it has been told is the cuckoo bird, although very black, is beautiful because of its sweet voice. Similarly, a woman becomes beautiful by her chastity and faithfulness to her husband, and an ugly person becomes beautiful when he becomes a learned scholar. In the same way, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras become beautiful by their qualities. So the very division, the 4 Varnas, are divided based on guna and karma, the qualities. So if the very qualities is lacking, then how they can qualify themselves to be a Brahmana or a Kshatriya? So the emphasis is given not on birth, but on character, but on guna. So we call ourselves as Vaishnavas, as initiated devotees, as Brahmanas. So then we should understand that this is not simply the post. It is by developing the qualities. So ultimately, pleasing Lord becomes easy if we have this quality of devotion. So devotion to Krishna is so easy because there is no any material qualification required. So no matter whether we are rich or poor, whether we are scholar or fool, whether we are white or black, so whatever qualification, whatever was our material qualification, it is immaterial. So to please Lord, No material qualification is required. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada said, there is no material obstacle to perform our bhakti. Our bhakti is above, there is no obstacle. The only obstacle is that we don't want to surrender to God. This is the only obstacle. Otherwise, no other material obstacles is there. Simply, anybody in any part of the world, they can perform devotional service. They don't need any money. They don't need any education. Wherever they are, whatever they have in their possession, whatever is to the best of their capacity, simply with love and devotion, if they serve Lord, Lord becomes pleased. So in this way, bhakti becomes very easy, and pleasing Lord becomes the most easiest thing. Actually, bhakti should be the most easiest thing, but unfortunately, because of conditioning nature, it appears that it is the most difficult thing. Once I was trying to explain this example that the nature of soul, all the jivas' nature, is to serve Lord unconditionally. This is the eternal position of jivas. So being the constitutional position, that should be the most easiest thing for us to do. But it doesn't appear like that. So the example is given that the nature of water, the constitutional position of water is liquidity. Water is liquid. So, but due to some artificial circumstances, you keep water in the fridge, in the refrigerator, in the cooler. So then it becomes ice, solid. The nature of water is liquid, but when you provide artificial atmosphere, it becomes ice. So you can see in the home, if we have fridge, even if electricity goes off for a few minutes, the tendency of the ice starts melting. From the solid state, it comes to liquid state. As soon as little opportunity is there, even for a moment, if there is no current, the solid transforms into the liquid state. So the nature of water is to be liquid. So any opportunity is there, it will try to go to its constitutional position. So I was trying to give this example and say that bhakti should be the most easiest thing. Any opportunity, immediately Atma will, take to the devotional service and go towards Krishna. So when I was giving this example of ice becoming water, so there was one Russian devotee sitting who was from Siberia. So he said, this example doesn't help us, bro. We never see ice becoming water. So then we were just discussing. So similarly, we can understand why we are not able to, get easily attracted to Lord. Because we are so conditioned, the temperature there is always minus 20, minus 30. So we were so absorbed in our material consciousness, material atmosphere, that this looks most difficult thing to perform bhakti. But actually it should be the most easiest thing. That's our nature, So in spite of all opportunity given, in spite of all mercy given, still we are struggling. So that means we should understand that there was no hope with other forms of the Lord or other avatars of the Lord. With Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's presence, we are struggling. So therefore, we should understand the fortunate position of ourselves and try to perform seriously, sincerely, and then with their mercy, their forgiving nature, so we may one day attain their lotus feet. So Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any questions, any comments, any mistakes? Purity. Yeah. So Prabhuji is mentioning a point that we can see Srila Prabhupada, if one sense the external point of view, he was elderly person, it was not that he was beautiful or he was not rich or he was not famous or something. But when they saw Srila Prabhupada, many devotees in their memories, they recall that just by seeing Prabhupada's devotion, Prabhupada's purity, they get attracted to him and they take up to the Krishna consciousness movement. So the real attraction is the devotion rather than the material quality. So therefore, it's very important that we develop the qualities, the bhakti that attracts Lord and devotees. Any other points? So Hare Krishna. Antrat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.